Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let me go ahead and pump this out real quick. Pause. Let's talk about it. Pumping it out is crazy. A crazy way to start the live, man. I'm wilding. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. I didn't even promote the live. I just went ahead and powered it straight on. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. What a card, though. What a card. I must say, we did have a card. We did have a card, y'all. Let me go ahead. I'm just shooting this to my text. You know what I'm saying? We did have a card, though. But let's talk about the main event, guys. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Look, this was a fight that was really hard for me to predict. I didn't know what to expect. I did not know what to expect from Mike. Um, Mike sold it well yesterday with the slap. Um, his body looked in shape. You feel me? But the age, the father of time is undefeated, man. Father of time is undefeated. Let me go ahead and let the people know that I am live. Let me let the people know I'm here. I'm here to kick it with you guys, man. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right, what a night of boxing, though. What a night of boxing, man. What a night of boxing, man. I'm just promoting this on all my platforms. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Mike Tyson obviously was a little bit too old tonight, or maybe a lot of bit too old. Jake Paul carrying him through the fight, letting him live. Um, if anything, we have to at least show grace and gratitude to Jake Paul for not knocking Mike out. Right? Let's give Jake Paul a round of applause, y'all. Round of applause for Jake Paul for not knocking Mike Tyson out. Because had he knocked Mike Tyson out, I personally believe we would all be in here really fucking mad. Like, I think the rage that the boxing community would have had, me included, it would have been bad. Like, Jake would have been living with the super hate of the boxing community had he knocked out Mike Tyson. We all know that this fight was for the money. I've been telling people this for a minute. We all know this was for the money. This was Jake Paul just, using his marketing skills to market himself as beating the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson. We all know it's not the real Mike Tyson. We all know it's not the real Tyson, right? But on his resume, he got Mike Tyson. At the end of the day, Mike Tyson agreed to take this fight, right? At the end of the day, Mike Tyson agreed to take this fight, which means he's an adult. Mike Tyson is a 8-year-old adult. He got to take responsibility for his actions too. We got to hold Mike liable for his actions. You took the fight. You could have easily not taken the fight, but you chose to take it, right? So we can't be too mad at Jake for beating Tyson. However, I'm actually proud of Jake because what I see in Jake is he could have took advantage of Mike and knocked him out, and he chose not to. He chose not to knock Mike out. It was very obvious that if Jake would have put the pedal to the metal Tyson could have got up out of there. And in turn, what he decided to do was just use his jab, move around, and just not just win the fight. And that's how you respect the legend. That's how you respect the legend. You feel what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's that. You know what I mean? There's not really much else to talk about. We already know what time it is. He won every round, right? So it's just like, okay, maybe 1 or 2 rounds you could swing for Tyson. But Tyson was biting on his gloves. I thought his mouthpiece was coming out the whole fight. I was pissed off at his corner for allowing him to fight with a messed up mouthpiece. And what ends up happening is it's him biting his own glove. Like, I don't even know what that's about. Like, you biting your own glove? Like, I don't know what Tyson got going on with that, right? So anyway, we know what it is. Mike Tyson got the bag, 20M. Jake Paul probably got more than that. One of the biggest events in boxing this year. Every single person in this chat was hype about this. And don't try to act like you wasn't. Don't try to act like you wasn't hype about this. The build-up was better than the fight. Let's keep it a stack. The build-up was better than the fight. You feel me? So for me, it was a good build-up. Pause. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. The build-up was crazy. But let's talk about Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. Let's talk about Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. That's the fight I want to talk about, y'all. What did y'all think about Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor? Because, damn, bro, that was some bullshit. What a fucking bullshit fight. Like, I was so mad at how many headbutts Katie Taylor got away with, man. You know what I'm saying? The first fight that they fought was, the first fight that they fought was like a classic battle. And I edged that fight to Katie Taylor. I thought Katie Taylor won more rounds. I thought Amanda Serrano had her out on her feet. I thought she won like 3 rounds. But I thought Katie Taylor clearly won the fight in a tough, battle-tested fight where I thought she outpointed Amanda Serrano. But tonight, the way she kept jumping in with her head and the referee not calling it. And then finally, when the referee decides that he's going to call the fight, he's going to give her a warning, and then finally take her point away, she headbutts her like 8 more times before the fucking fight is over. She must have headbutted Amanda Serrano 20 times in that fight. Like, literally, I'm not even exaggerating. I mean, how many times would you guys guess that Amanda Serrano got headbutt in that fight without even any warning? I'm going to say like 20. Like, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? That cut was disgusting. You feel me? That cut was disgusting. And what a heart of a lion Amanda Serrano got, right? For her eye to be damn near falling apart, and for her to continue and continue and continue to, you know what I'm saying? Yo, y'all comments be funny as hell, man. Oh, my man said I thought Mike won the fight. Okay. Who agrees with Joe Karate? But listen, I don't know why that made me laugh. But yo, Amanda Serrano, man, that was crazy, man. Mike Tyson. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? It was a good night of boxing, honestly, man. The Barrios fight was crazy. Katie Taylor, Serrano, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. I mean, yeah, yo, I was just talking about my thoughts on Serrano and Taylor, man, and I thought that Serrano got fucked over. I thought that, she got hit with multiple headbutts throughout the fight. The fight, truthfully, should have ended in a disqualification if you want the truth. It should have ended in a disqualification. She was getting headbutt way before she got warned. Matter of fact, she was getting headbutt way before she got cut. Then she finally gets cut. And then after she gets cut, you know what I'm saying? She gets headbutt again and again and again. And even though he did take a point finally, he didn't take a second point. You know, she got headbutt literally like 6 more times after the fucking point got deducted in 2 rounds. Like 3 times in each round moving forward. I think it was the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. She got headbutt a bunch of more. So I thought that was some bullshit. I think that the fight should have ended in a disqualification. I didn't sit there with a pen and paper and score the fight, but it just felt like Serrano won. But I call it a bullshit victory because she shouldn't have won, period. It shouldn't have even went to the scorecards. To me, it was just a bullshit victory. It like 95, 94, maybe that was the right card if you want to be technical and score it round by round and pay attention to who, you know what I'm saying? But with all the headbutts and all the bullshit involved, it was a bullshit victory. You feel me? I didn't sit there and score the fight, but it felt like Serrano deserved to walk away with that fight because she fought through the headbutt. She hurt her multiple times throughout the fight. She kept pressing forward, and she was being cheated out of points getting deducted. So I feel like Serrano won the fight. But yeah, man, I mean, listen, there's not really much to talk about here. We all know what happened tonight. Tyson, obviously, his age showed. And Jake Paul carried him, period. Like, it's not, you know, it is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. He carried him. You know what I'm saying? He used his footwork. He used his jab. And I feel like he could have stopped Mike. I feel like he could have stopped Mike in the 3rd or 4th round when he hurt him. Whenever round that was, I feel like he could have stopped him, and then he chose not to stop him. And since he chose not to stop him, you know what I mean? I kind of earned, I feel like Jake Paul earned a little respect in my book. It's like, okay, you're starting to mature. You're starting to mature now because truthfully, any real fighter, any real youthful fighter in that same situation would have did the same thing. At least the way I feel about things. You know, if I was the coach in the corner, I would have advised him to do the same thing. I'd have said, just carry him. You know, you're talking about a legend, Mike Tyson. You feel me? We're not talking about just some 58-year-old guy who smacked you in your face. We're talking about a man who paved the way, who made boxing one of the most popular sports. And not only that, made this fight as intriguing as it could be. I mean, let's not act like Jake Paul sold this fight by himself. Jake Paul sold this fight, but it's because he fought Mike Tyson. Because ain't none of his other fights doing numbers like this. He might do numbers like this if he fights Canelo, because Canelo's like still youthful enough to knock Jake the fuck out. But let's not act like Jake is selling fights like this without a good dancing partner. You know what I mean? When he fought those UFC guys, those guys had names. He fought Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson got a name. So at the end of the day, you feel me, is like he paid homage in the end. And honestly, even though it was a bullshit, like it's not a real thing, and I know a lot of boxing fans hate Jake Paul for what he's doing, we got to look at Mike Tyson. He accepted the fight. So let Mike Tyson be a man, do as he pleases. You know what I'm saying? And we have to respect it. Both parties were involved. It wasn't Jake Paul backing Mike into a corner to fight. Mike Tyson signed the contract. He's a grown-ass man. He decided to sign the contract. So he has to be held responsible for putting his resume, putting his legacy on the line. And Jake Paul, at the end of the day, did not take full advantage of what he could have done to Mike, which in my book earns a little bit of respect. It shows that boxing teaches humility. It teaches humility even to those who aren't humble. Because Jake has obviously learned some humility throughout because he was a very arrogant at certain points of his life. And I think that he learned a little humility through boxing. Like, you know what? I could knock this old guy out, but I'm not going to. I respect him. And that's the lesson that I think some people should walk away from. You know what I'm saying? Just because you could do something don't mean you should do it. That's the hidden message here. That's the hidden. I'm always looking for the hidden messages that boxing teaches us. You know what I'm saying? Just because you can get away with something don't mean you should do it. Or just because you can hurt somebody don't mean you should do it. So at the end of the day, man, it was still a good build up. Pause. Right? It was still a good build up when we were United Boxing. Everybody and their mother was texting me tonight. I couldn't even respond to everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody had an opinion. Everybody was excited to watch the fight. So can't nobody sit here and tell me you wasn't excited before you knew the outcome. Now you might be like, man, this is bullshit, man. This is so rigged. I hate Jake Paul, man. This is staged. You can say all that shit now. But before the fight, you was hype about it. That's why you watched it. That's why you in this stream right now voicing your opinion. So at the end of the day, boxing is entertainment slash boxing. Boxing is entertainment slash boxing, and we can't forget what boxing truthfully is. So, you know, it's not just a fight, it's entertainment. And I think that's what boxers need to learn. And once boxers learn that this is not just fighting, this is actually entertainment, I think that the light on boxing will actually, people will shed light on boxing and more boxers will actually get popularity. And you don't have to be entertaining in a goofy way. Mike Tyson wasn't goofy and he was very entertaining. You see what I'm saying? You just have to have something about you, a story, you know, some kind of a energy about you that makes people want to watch you, man. You can't just be this talented fighter that's just corny. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be corny and think, oh, well, I'm a good fighter, but since I'm mad corny, like, I don't understand why nobody wants to watch. Like, dog, you're corny. Like, you got to bring more than just skills. You got to talk your shit. You got to do something. Maybe you don't talk shit, but maybe you have a body language about you. Maybe you, I don't know, man. I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like, let's look at Javante Davis. Javante Davis, he's fucking popular as hell. Why? Because he got the Mike Tyson effect. He ain't doing no goofy shit like Ryan Garcia, right? But look at Ryan Garcia. He's popular as hell. Why? He went the Nickelodeon route. You know what I'm saying? And even though he's a real fighter, he got people paying attention to him because he understands how to play up to his character. You see what I'm saying? Canelo, he has a look that, you know, caught people off guard. A Mexican that looks white, that looks Irish, but at the same time, he's got a country behind him. You see what I'm saying? And then he kind of played into his character. Floyd Mayweather, when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, he was just a cool little boxer. Then he became Money Mayweather, throwing money out. People hated him, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? People fell in love with him. And next thing you know, he's the highest paid boxer or athlete at, I don't know if he still is, but I believe he is, highest paid athlete in boxing history. So for the people out there who, you know, have a problem with guys like Jake Paul coming to the sport, you got to remember it ain't boxing people coming to watch Jake Paul. It was boxing people coming to watch Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul. When Jake Paul fights, people want to see Jake Paul fight that are fans of Jake Paul. Then when people who want to watch him fight a UFC fighter, is usually the UFC fighter fans looking to watch the UFC fighter fight Jake Paul. But Jake Paul got his own motion. He got his own people. He got his own fan base. He got his own money. You see what I'm saying? He does what he wants to do. He's in his own lane. You know what I'm saying? So we got to remember that this is entertainment. This got nothing to do with boxing, y'all. But I tell you what did we get a chance to see? We got to see the Barrios fight tonight. There was a fantastic fight. We got to watch Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, which was a bullshit-ass victory. However, a very entertaining, drama-filled fight that now makes you want to see a third one. And I believe Amanda Serrano got paid very well for this fight. And we all know that a lot of female fighters ain't getting, they just do. They're not getting paid like, you know, they should. But Amanda Serrano is. You feel what I'm saying? So, and Katie Taylor, of course, right? So that's my thoughts on it, man. That's my opinion. I know everybody got a lot to say. I I don't know where we go from here, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, it is what it is. Let me see what people are saying in here. There's so many comments I can't even like go comment with y'all. Um, I'm just voicing my opinion, but it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Listen, y'all. Tomorrow we got another card in Saudi Arabia. A fighter that I used to work with, Tevin Farmer, is going to be fighting William Cepeda. I'm actually very excited about that fight. I was with Tevin Farmer for about 7 fights. He defended his titles 5 times, six times total. Won the world title together back in like 2017, 18, 19, 2020. I no longer work with Tevin, but Tevin is still a dear friend of mine. And he's got a very, very, very difficult fight tomorrow with William Cepeda. He's a huge underdog. Um, obviously I'm not out there with him, but I wish him the best. And I'm excited to watch it. And I believe that fight is actually going to be daytime, daytime hours for us in the United States. So for people out there, make sure you guys tune into the zone because you're gonna have some good boxing on. I don't know who else is on that card. Can somebody else tell me who's on that card? Like who else is on that card besides Farmer and Cepeda, y'all? So anyway, I say that to say I might be doing my no days off November early tomorrow because I might be covering my reaction to the fight early tomorrow. You feel me? Listen, yeah. People hyping here, man. People talking they talk right now. Yeah, man. It was sad to see, Tyson obviously look his age. But listen, man, 58 years old, man, he was still able to go out there with an injured knee, do what he had to do, man. Listen, it is what it is. You feel me? He's a legend. Vesper. I get what you're saying, okay? So for the Jake Paul haters out there, I get what y'all saying. I think this is where the people, okay? Let's try to have a logical head here. Let's try to have a logical head here, guys, okay? Let's just be logical. Let's be logical. Let's not think with this. Let's not think with emotion. Because when we think with emotion, a lot of times we make bad decisions. You ever been mad at somebody and then just bang, punch them in his face, and then like you get in trouble or something, and you're like, damn, I shouldn't have hit this dude. Now look at me, man. I got to deal with, like me, I got a couple of assault charges in my life. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to do something, and then 2 seconds later, I'm like, why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so what I'm trying to tell y'all is this. Let's not think with emotion here. Let's think logically, right? How do I word this so I don't get killed by the fans of the boxing world, right? He's fighting a senior citizen calling himself a pro. Yes, we get that. However, you do know that anybody can go professional in boxing, including yourself. Anybody can turn pro. And there's a lot of pros out there right now that if you was to go dig into their fights and see who they're fighting, you're going to see they're fighting in Mexico. You're going to see they're fighting in like South Carolina, Wyoming, like places that like, and you're beating up guys with upside down records. So they're like 10-0, 11-0, 12-0. Then they start fighting some 500 records. And then maybe they go ahead and they get themselves a couple of fights, a big name, whatever, right? Not all. You got kids that came out the amateurs like the Shakur Stevensons and the Javantes and the Floyd Mayweathers and all these guys who are like the cream of the crop. These are the best of the best. These are the amateurs who everybody knew was going to be a good pro. But you got a big group of pros out there who are building their records beating up on bums. And even some of these guys that are the cream of the crop come out beating up these bums. And then sometimes, to take it to another level, they'll build up a guy who beats up a bunch of bums, who has no amateur record. Now he's 20-0. Then you get a kid from the amateurs who had like 150 plus amateur fights. He gets, and now they're matched up 20-0 versus 20-0, and he knocks him out. And now you think he really knocked out a 20-0 legitimate guy. But this guy who was 20-0 didn't have an extensive amateur background. And when you really dig deep into his box rec, he fought a bunch of fucking bums. Boxing's been doing this shit forever with some of your favorite fucking fighters. Canelo, when he fought fucking Sugar Shane Mosley or something, he was like 40 and something and 0. Like, who the fuck did Canelo fight before he fought Cotto's brother, who I don't even know what his record was? Who was he before he fought Sugar Shane Mosley? He was already like 41 and 0. Julio Cesar Chavez was like 89 and 0, but let's go into his box record and let's look at his first 50. So y'all gotta understand, like, Jake Paul is doing the same shit that professional boxers do, except with more famous names. And the other thing y'all gotta understand is Jake Paul already has a fan base, aka he sells tickets. I'm friends with promoters. I go to a promoter and say, hey, I got a kid. Matter of fact, a friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but a friend of mine is a promoter. And I told him, I got a guy who wants to fight pro. Can we get him on a card? Can we get him an opponent so he can win? He said, you know what he said to me? Can he sell tickets? That's what he said to me. Can he sell tickets? See, boxing fans, y'all gotta understand this shit is a fucking business, man. Y'all gotta stop with the, oh, this is some bullshit, blah, 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 blah. This is a business, and until y'all understand that, you're never gonna understand this shit. You feel me? So, Jake Paul already has a fan base. He could fight anybody and make bread, y'all. But some of your pros that are like the hardcore pros, they broke. But why are they broke? They can't sell. They can't sell, man. They can't fucking sell. These guys need to understand marketing. That's what they need to understand. Jake Paul don't need boxing, y'all. He's doing this because he wants to do this, and he's figured out a way to get a bag from it. And honestly, Jake Paul's first 10 fights are better than some of these pros. When you go name for name, Jake Paul's resume is better than some of these pros. I think what's happening is this. Y'all looking too deep into it. And then y'all going to see that Jake Paul is getting all these people tuning into his fight. And you think that we're comparing him to like Canelo or like fucking some of these top names. We're not comparing him to them dudes. We know what it is. If he fought Canelo next, the way he said he wants to fight Canelo, and let's just say he fucking went. Let's say Jake Paul put up the same performance that Edgar Berlanga put up against Canelo. I think Jake Paul deserves some fucking respect. If Jake Paul could put up the same performance against Canelo that Edgar Berlanga put up, he deserves some fucking respect. Okay? Because Jake Paul is not supposed to be able to go 12 rounds with a guy like Canelo, even if he is a little bit bigger. He's not supposed to be. And plus, he said he'd come down, right? He was, what, 220 something today? He said he'd come down to Cruiser to fight Canelo. So if he fought Canelo next and went 12 rounds with Canelo, then what are we going to say? How many motherfuckers here in the chat think they can go 12 rounds with Canelo and really do well? I'll wait, right? So we have to just pay attention to what we're getting upset about, y'all. What are we really getting upset about? We're all up at 1:18 in the morning Eastern time talking boxing. We're coming together as a community to talk about some shit that most of y'all would have been asleep by now, or in the club doing something else, or chilling with your girl, or whatever. Y'all wouldn't have been doing this. Y'all wouldn't have been in here chopping it up with me. I could tell you that, because I done did lives at this time on other days, and there'd be like 30 people in here, right? So entertainment, y'all. Entertainment. We have to understand the entertainment value. Jake Paul is not being compared to any top fighters by any real boxing people, y'all. I'm not comparing him to the top people. Eddie Chambers ain't comparing him to the top people. And my diehard core fans damn sure ain't comparing him to the top people. But what we are doing is getting entertained by some of the antics he did. He's fought some UFC fighters. He's fought some UFC fighters that I didn't know who they was. Guess what? I didn't watch the fucking fight. I didn't watch the fight. There was like 2 or 3 UFC fighters that, and the bare knuckle dude. And the bare knuckle dude. I didn't watch Jake Paul fight the bare knuckle dude. And there was like 3 UFC fighters and the first dude that he fought, there was like I forgot, like some basketball player dude or some shit. I didn't watch none of them fights. None of them. The fights that I watched from Jake Paul was Tyron Woodley, both of them, because I know Tyron Woodley. We follow each other on Instagram. I know I used to train King Mo, who was a Bellator MMA fighter, and he's cool with Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, we all kind of met each other and we follow each other, and it's just respect, right? So I know Tyron. I watched both. I watched when Jake Paul fought Anderson Silva. I thought Anderson Silva might beat him. Anderson Silva previously had just beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I watched when Jake Paul fought Tommy Fury, because Tommy Fury, obviously, even though I don't think he's the best pro out there or anything like that, he's in shape, he's young, and he's a legitimate pro. Like world class, I wouldn't say that, but he's a legitimate pro. He's been boxing since he was like 8 years old. He comes from, the Fury family, even though I don't think he's a blood family member. I don't know what the situation is. However, I watched that. Look at that, Anderson Silva. Decent win for a guy with less than 10 pro fights. Okay. Tommy Fury, he fought him. He ain't win. Tyron Woodley, he's a UFC fighter. So, I mean, whatever. But at the end of the day, he was still a top-notch fighter. And then the other guys, I don't know who it was. And then, of course, Mike Tyson. Who was going to miss out on the Mike Tyson fight? Who was not going to watch that? Now, if Jake Paul goes and he fights like some other dude from the UFC who I don't know who it is, I'm not watching it. If he fights some other Nickelodeon dude, I'm not watching it. But if he fights Canelo, I'm watching it. If he fights Edgar Berlanga, I'm watching it. If he fights anybody who I know who's a legitimate boxer, I'm watching it. You feel me? I didn't even watch when he fought that other boxer who he knocked out in 30 seconds, who had like a 10-0 record, which his record was completely padded. They called him a Golden Glove champion, and he had a padded record. His record was like 12-1. Go down his box record and see who he fought. Who the hell is he? 12-1. Jake Paul had a better resume than him and knocked him out in 30 seconds. But this guy's a pro, a professional boxer. He was a Golden Glove champion. Who the fuck was he? No disrespect to him, but he was getting hyped up and promoted as this pro boxer with an extensive amateur background who's 12-1, legitimate fighter. He gets knocked out in 30 seconds with an uppercut by a guy with less than 10 pro fights with no amateur background, who honestly isn't all that great, but he's just been dedicated. So I don't know, man. I just think that we're looking too deep into this shit. We need to understand that boxing's a business. And it ain't, it ain't, don't look too deep into it, y'all. We are not by any means considering Jake Paul a world-class fighter. He is an entertainer, y'all. He is an entertainer who has figured out a way to entertain the people in boxing as well as his own fan base. And he is taking boxing serious, a lot more serious than some of these fucking pros, might I add. Some of these pros out here, and I know because I work with pros, ain't taking this shit as serious as Jake Paul, and they're better. They're more talented, but they're not in the gym every day. They're not fucking sleeping this shit every day. You know what I'm saying? They're not keeping up with their nutrition. They come into the gym looking like shit. You see what I'm saying? They're not listening to their coaches. They're not doing their strength and conditioning. They're doing a bunch of other shit, and these guys are fucking professionals. These are the quote unquote professionals. These are the pros, and these are the guys who people want to give real respect to and homage to, and they're not even taking the sport serious. But then you got a guy like Jake Paul, Nickelodeon guy, which I know I'm friends with a guy who's in his camp who's a sparring partner, and I actually want to bring him on here to talk. He actually spars Jake Paul, who I already confirmed with him that he would get on here and we'll talk about the fight. My boy Steve Jaffard. And he told me Jake eats, sleeps, and shits the sport. He said one thing he could say about Jake Paul is that he's dedicated. And he's one of his sparring partners. They do camps together. You know what I'm saying? They're always training together. So, he knows him. I mean, Jake Paul has given opportunities to boxers. You know what I'm saying? He's given opportunity to boxers. He's given opportunities to boxing guys like Jalen Love, who's a coach. So, I mean, listen, there's many different ways to look at the same situation. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys out here who ain't giving these guys no fucking opportunities, and they've been in boxing for 20-something years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever. They friends with them, and they in boxing, and they ain't never tossed them a bone. Then you got a guy like Jake Paul come around and say, yeah, man, you could be a sparring partner. You can come down to camp. You can use my nutritionist. You can use my strength and conditioning coach. You can live down here in Puerto Rico with me while I get in shape. You can get in shape with me. Hey, man, a lot of different ways to look at the same shit, bro. Feel me, y'all? So that's my message for today. I'm by no means defending any of this shit. I'm just voicing my opinion and looking at it with a level head, because that's what Coach Anthony does. I look at things from a level head. So listen, y'all, there's some real boxing, quote unquote, real boxing tomorrow at like 11 o'clock Eastern time. And I will be tuned into it. So make sure you guys grab my phone number, 215-709-5437. Even though there was some real boxing tonight, man, shout out to Amanda Serrano, man. She really won my heart tonight. I thought she lost the first fight with Katie Taylor, but I thought tonight she got fucked out of a victory. She fought through the headbutt, you know what I'm saying? And I really think that she deserves the highlight of the night. Highlighted fighter of the night to me goes to Amanda Serrano. Barrios and I forget the other guy's name. Barrios and the other guy, they had a fantastic, amazing back and forth battle. And we saw the main event. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, what you gonna say? It is what it is. You feel me? But that's it, y'all. So I will definitely be back on here tomorrow. Make sure you guys grab my number. 215-709-5437. 437, man. And I appreciate everybody who tuned in, man. Shout out to Amanda Serrano. Don't take Jake Paul too serious, y'all. Don't be too upset about this, man. Mike Tyson's a grown-ass man. He decided that he wanted that 20 million, and it is what it is. I'm out, y'all. Peace.